Welcome back.
To Marriage Beyond the Veil. Day 55.
Okay.
All right. Well, today, I sort of I want to talk about what happens in a marriage when things aren't going the way that you strategically planned. So, we've talked about some of the highs and lows that we've struggled through. But what happens when one partner isn't sure they want to continue on?
What happens? I've never been there.
No, you haven't. But how would you handle it? Just let's just talk this through.
No, I think that if you get to a point where one person in the relationship is not willing or doesn't see that there is value
Mm-hmm.
to continue the relationship, then it's really time to have some difficult conversations and assess where things are.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and determine where you thought you would be,
Mm-hmm.
where you want to be,
Mm-hmm.
and what will it require to get you there.
Yeah. I personally, like Fred, I think that it requires some hard conversations. First of all, when you make a committed relationship and you say you're going to be committed into a relationship, then that's the moment that you have to stop and they say stop, look, and listen. But yeah, you want to stop. You want to assess what this relationship means to you while you're doing it, and what do you hope to get out of it. But just because halfway through a year or 2 years, 3, 5, 10, 15 years into it, something happens that maybe isn't going the way that you strategically thought it was going to be, that doesn't necessarily mean that you throw in the towel.
Well, I think many times people buy into the fairy tale
Mm-hmm.
and they lived happily ever after.
Mm-hmm.
And they can and they will, but they have to choose to live happily ever after.
You do.
Um, if you have some kind of preconceived idea of what things should be, what they will look like,
Mm-hmm.
then I think you set yourself up for disappointments
Mm-hmm.
because, like you said, things are not going to always work out the way you strategically plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if in your mind you've created some reality that is not reality, then you will be disappointed every time.
And I love what you said, this fairy tale, because really and truthfully, that's really what it gets down to. I believe in a lot of cases, first of all, you start out with this zest and this zeal, and everything's wonderful, and here's the world before you, and I'm going to give you diamonds and rubies and all kinds of things at the beginning. Then all of a sudden, lost job, things happen, and all of a sudden the situation changes. So the fairy tale is not the fairy tale anymore. But you know what? This is still the person that I committed myself to. This is still the person that I love.
Or is it?
And this is true.
And that's what it comes down to. You're making a commitment with this other person, with this individual. And if the commitment is genuine,
Mm-hmm.
you have to, even if you don't think about it beforehand cognitively, we're telling you, think about it because each of you will change.
Yeah.
Each of you will evolve, not who you are as far as your core values,
Right.
right? But each of you will make poor decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Each of you will, at times, may be selfish.
Mm-hmm.
As well as selfless.
Yes.
But again, there's just so many things that occur on the journey together that you have to factor in the unknown.
You do. You really do have to factor in the unknown.
Because there are things that you know, and there are things that you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and there are things that you don't know that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So be mindful in any love relationship to understand before you get started, or if you're in the midst of it now,
Right.
things are not always going to work out the way you planned.
Mm-hmm.
period. But you have the ability to make new plans, to reestablish boundaries,
Right.
to create a new outcome. But are you committed to the person that you said, I do with? Because if you do, then you don't have to worry about saying, I don't, until tomorrow, if the Lord says the same.
Have a good evening.